talked on the show last week about the MLB All-Star Game coming to Seattle. And look, fine. I just happen to think that Seattle's not ready for it. I happen to think that we shouldn't want the eyes of the world on us when we aren't sure that we can keep people safe who are coming here. When we have this horrible drug crisis and crime crisis playing out in the heart of the city between the hotel district and the stadiums. That's the worst of it, right by Pike Place Market. So we're going to have all these tourists coming in, and what are they going to see? And I talked on the show last week about how I know what's going to happen. The city of Seattle is going to go in, huge police presence in the days leading up to the All-Star Game, and then as soon as the All-Star Game's done, the police will pull out and they'll go back to doing what they were doing. And that's unfortunate that they have to do that. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be an increased police presence when you've got a bunch of people in town, but that's not solving the problem. And we shouldn't have invited such an important event to our city when it's in the state that it's in. So anyway, our friend Jonathan Choe went down to SoDo over the weekend. And he is, of course, an independent journalist and senior fellow for Discovery Institute. And he talked to some folks down there who work down there about what they were seeing, about the state of things, and whether the city could truly turn things around. I will warn you, if the sight of blood makes you uneasy, you maybe want to avert your eyes. I did some tasteful blurring, but what he saw is frankly horrendous.
Just want to see if you needed help. It looks infected. Do you want to go to the hospital?
He be out here all the time, though.
Yeah. Why can't we help him? Why can't we get him off the streets?
You don't want help.
You know, some people don't want the help.
It's normally wrapped up. I don't know where the wrap is.
I haven't seen it like that exposed.
I never seen it like that.
He's out here daily, though.
He really ain't got no foot. Like,
I see it like that.
Bro, that's really an open sore. Like,
it's not bleeding nothing, but you know.
It was bleeding.
He bleeding sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if he's... You've seen it all.
Yeah,
it almost seems like you're used to it now.
Yeah.
Is it getting better, though, in SoDo? Because
nah. They didn't clear some out, you know. I know you've seen this, but
right across the
it's
street.
not. It ain't getting better.
they just moved around.
You know, they just moved right there.
Right across the
On the
street.
other side of the building.
The Major League Baseball All-Star Game is coming in July.
It is.
Oh, that's
Sure is.
You think the city's going to be ready for that?
Hell no.
Nah, but we're gonna make something happen. It's gonna happen. They're coming.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. How you think they're helping by legalizing the shit they smoking that they know is killing people?
You're talking about the lawmakers really decriminalizing
How
everything.
is that helping? But you guys want to bring the All-Star Game here, and we got people running around here with no feet, bleeding and shit. But you niggas is encouraging them to get high by legalizing the shit you don't want them smoking. I bet you can ask anybody this. They know crackheads. I know crackheads that been smoking crack 20, 30 years.
Still moving around.
Ain't never had a crackhead die, heard one dying smoking
Great
crack.
jobs.
But they smoking fentanyl. Say me and him smoking. I'm smoking, I die. He gonna pick it up and hit it too.
I'm gone.
Like what?
So fentanyl's a brand new class of drug.
I don't know if it's in the endorphins or what. Like we be having customers come up in here. They be high off fentanyl, like perks and shit. They be in here rocking, falling asleep, itching like a motherfucker.
Oh my
That shit
gosh.
ain't cool. They gotta have a plan, and they have to really be on top of it.
Yeah, and like he says, we're going to bring people here, and we've got folks going around with no feet, bleeding out, on fentanyl and scratching themselves. Those were two characters that Jonathan Choe found. But, what they're showing there in that depths of despair, when you've got some guy who's missing a foot and has an open wound where his foot should be, that's not something that can be fixed overnight. What do we do with someone like that? And we're inviting baseball fans to come to Seattle. And Jonathan also took this other video over the weekend. I should have played it, but we're going to play a couple clips from him today, where there was this fight, knockdown, drag-out fight between drug addicts on 3rd Avenue. And I just see this dad ushering his kids along, on by on the sidewalk. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm terrified. I don't want people to come to our city and be victimized. We've done stories in the last couple weeks of tourists, a guy he's in town for 2 hours. An attorney from out of town, he's in town for 2 hours. And he gets stabbed right by his hotel. And that's horrifying. We don't want that to be the picture that the world gets. And speaking of, Todd Welch in the comments just now said, we're only a few years away from hosting the World Cup matches. And so it's like, so MLB All-Star Game, the country's watching, and then World Cup, the world's watching. And there is so much work that has to be done. And I want them to come to a city that is the beautiful city I remember 10 years ago. That's what we should all want. And then, if we have people now who come and they get a bad impression, they're never coming back. If they see some guy in a wheelchair with no foot that's bleeding, they're not going to bring their family back to Seattle. I hate to laugh, but sometimes you do laugh so you don't cry. But one other clip I wanted to play from Jonathan, because I got a text from Olga Sagan over the weekend saying, and Olga's running for Seattle City Council downtown district. And she said, hey, there's a picture that just got sent to me from a business owner in Soto who runs this Pokemon. Nicole was making fun of my Pokemon. Pokemon.
Pokemon is correct. You were saying Pokemon.
Pokemon
earlier.
Well, a Pokemon shop runs a Pokemon shop and shows up and there's a bullet hole through the glass. This is a shop where kids come to play Pokemon, of course, and you've got a bullet hole right through your front window. Thank God no one was hurt. Here's a little clip of Jonathan Choe talking to the guy.
Bullet hole through the window right here, and I think this is the bullet hole or the bullet.
Is it still in there?
I think so. We'll wait for the cops to get here and fire it up.
Okay.
And hopefully it's, I hope nobody was shot here last night.
Yeah, I hope nobody was shot there last night either, but somebody, if that had been in the middle of the day and the trajectory was just a little off, Jonathan also had some video of kids in there playing Pokemon cards. And it's like, we have to care more about the safety of those kids and the ability of that business owner to run a business that's safe for kids than we should care about the criminals who are using guns to commit crimes. Oftentimes that's tied to substance abuse and drug deals. And unless we are all rowing in the same direction, where we're going to enforce the laws that are on the books, we're going to try to be compassionate, but we're not going to have a tolerance for this kind of activity bringing down a once great city, unless we're all rowing in the same direction. The MLB All-Star Game, too late to fix things before that. But the World Cup, hopefully we can get things back on track. But we also shouldn't want things to be fixed just for visitors, just for tourists. We should want our beautiful city back for ourselves, for the enjoyment of families, and for the success of small businesses, particularly in Seattle, which is the economic engine of our entire state.